Welcome to Womanifesting, the podcast where we use our innate feminine energy to make shit happen. I'm Jodes, the curator of Womanifest, the UK's biggest empowerment and wellbeing festival for women and teen girls, and we're on a gender equity mission to living the happy, fulfilling and successful life we all deserve. Join me and my guests as we put the world to rights with a show to educate, inspire, empower, entertain and liberate you. Hello. Welcome back to Womanifesting. I hope you're enjoying the episodes so far, and I've got another amazing guest with me today. So here is Jen. Morning, Jen. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good.
Lovely to have you with me. So Jen is from Lunar Spirit Wellbeing, and Jen's a very important part of Womanifest 2024 because Jen is sponsoring the spirituality tent. Now, quite often, well, every single time actually, the spirituality tent ends up being the area of the festival that people love the most. It gets the best feedback. It's often the area that most people are most nervous about going to any of the sessions in, but actually they walk away from the festival thinking, wow, they were just the best bits. Some of the workshops and the experiences that they go through in the spirituality tent are the best, you know, on par with some of the experiences that we do as well. So Jen, do us a favor, just introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you, your world and the amazing stuff you do.
Hello, I'm so excited to be sponsoring the spirituality tent this year, and getting proper involved with Manifest, because it's something I really, really believe in, but we'll talk a bit about that later on. But so I'm Jennifer McKenzie, and the owner and founder of Lunar Spirit Wellbeing, which is my wellness company that helps support you to level up in life and business. So it's like about getting in, babe, we're turning your pain into purpose and into power. Oh, wow. So what I do is help men, women, teens, humans, let's call it humans. It's not really a genderized space that I have. It's for humans, and I help you to take your power back. So what does that mean? It means you may be going through life people pleasing, you're feeling a bit lost, you're maybe like leaning into unhealthy habits such as drinking, addiction. And boy, have I been there. So I come from a place of experience, life experience, and a place of 22 years in my field. So I bring that wealth of knowledge along with my personal journey into what I do. So I work somatically, subconsciously, holistically, and with the whole person, because I don't believe in sticky plaster solutions and a one size fits all. And I run retreats, courses, breathwork sessions, and also my place in Bedfordshire is a space where you can come and have like one-to-one treatments as well. So everything to do with your well-being. And I then help well-being business owners level up their confidence as well and work on their belief systems, because that's a big part of what I do. Is like, what do we think, feel and believe about ourselves and the world around us, and that shapes our outer experiences. So the inner work is really, really important. It's vital for business owners, and then vital for you to live an enriched, fulfilled, happier, healthier life.
Totally. You know, and this isn't Jen's first year with us. You've been with us already, haven't you? So you're a seasoned womanifester, and shows a dedication. You know, you will have heard her say there, she lives in Bedfordshire. It's a long flipping way to come to Womanifest.
But I like to get out and about. I mean, you know, I've been halfway across the world to do stuff. So, and to go to webinars or to meet people in the wellbeing industry, to collaborate with them. So for me, like, distance. It's how much effort you want to put into something, I believe.
It totally is. So I'm dead chuffed to have you on the podcast. You know, it'd be great to share a little bit more about what you do, but obviously kind of get your take on some of the hot topics that Womanifest exists to kind of make a bit of a difference at. Well, no, not a bit of a difference, a big difference at. And a massive difference. So one of the things that I always kind of start out with every guest that comes on to talk to us is around what Womanifest means, because this is always an eye-opener for loads of people, because you look at the word Womanifest and you think, oh, all right, that's a festival of women. Yeah, okay, it is. Get points for that. But actually, it has its own special definition, right? And that definition is when we use, and I say we, like you, quite generally, this doesn't just mean women, but when we use our innate feminine energy to make shit happen. Okay, so feminine energy doesn't just sit in females and women. Everybody's got a bit of feminine energy. But I love to get every guest's personal view of what that might mean to you. Kind of how does that speak to you, particularly in the context of the work that you do, using your innate feminine energy to make shit happen?
So I work energetically. I've been a Reiki energy practitioner for 22 years, and I teach Reiki as well. So you're talking my language, right? You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
And everything is energy, right? I'm then working on the belief that we can make stuff happen. We can co-create our lives, whatever gender we are. So feminine energy is nurturing, right? It's creative. So if you think of like the womb space, the sacral chakra, right? That is your seat of power. That is your seat of creation. That is where you're birthing new life. You whether that's a new life as in a human form, or whether that's birthing new ideas, new seeds, business ideas, like you're manifesting your life, you're manifesting love there. And now your sacral chakra is a very important chakra. And it is where you breathe down into to empower yourself to move forward. So we're manifest and using that innate energy. For me, I've used that. Once I knew what that was, I was like, wow, okay, my life can change now energetically. So if you think like when you hold stuff there, when that area is blocked, you're not believing in yourself, you're trying to micromanage and control everything in your life, which is then leaning more into your wounded masculine side. So when we can connect to that energy, so connect's really important, whether you're a male, female, or non-binary, like connecting to that energy is then your clarity, your creativity, and where you are then going to be able to manifest and create your dreams and your reality, right?
All of your desires, I guess, all of the things on your wish list, the way that you want your life to be, not just stuff you want to have, I guess, is it? It's a lot more around how you want your life to be, how you want to show up and experience life.
How do you want to feel? Like, that's what I always say to my clients. It's like, how do you want your life to feel? You know, what are your relationships? What do you want them to feel like? What do you want your life to feel like? What do you want your experiences to feel like? And then we go from there. Like that's the first thing.
When people find that question a bit peculiar, how do they generally respond? I'm dead intrigued.
I like, huh? I was like, yeah, not what do you want? How do you want to feel? And then we work from that. You know, so okay, I want to feel excited. I want to feel validated. So okay, so how do you get that? What does that relationship then look like? You know, are you hiding parts of your sexuality? And this is going to have a massive block on how you move forward as well. That doesn't mean like you've got to be rampant having sex all the time, but like clinging on to some self-love and some self-pleasure, and really getting to know who you are sexually is so important for your energy. And this is a bit that a lot of people miss out, is sexual energy. And orgasmic energy is like superpower for manifestations.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Because actually, you know, I really enjoy getting into this more, you know, more spiritual side of the conversation, you know, and I'm sure there will be people that will watch/listen to this that are in a similar position that I felt like I was in probably 3 years ago, where I never even dipped my toe in anything spiritual. In fact, I would have actively avoided it and poo-pooed it and been like, oh God, what's that shit? You know, all them tree huggers over there kind of thing, all the woo-woo weirdos. I would have said things like that. And then I don't know what happened, right? I really don't know what happened, but I decided to have a sneaky peek. I think I did it in secret. Just thought, I'm just gonna have a little nosy, see what all that's about. And then I was like, oh, this kind of sounds a bit interesting. This isn't something I've ever thought about before. When you lift the lid on that, some of it's made me a bit nervous, where I'm like, oh, I don't know. You know, I kind of need to see something play out there. But it's been really enlightening and got me out of seeing things that I don't know, that feel black and white. Does that make sense? It allows you to look at solutions or ways forward in colour rather than just black and white answers. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I get that. Like, because when we grow up, right, everything is very structured. So if you think back to when you're sort of a toddler, how different are toddlers? Like, they don't give a fuck, right? They want their needs met, and they're not afraid to say it. They're like, I'm just gonna, you know, dance in the middle of a street, or I'm gonna go and look at this bug like this and be like so curious, and this childlike wonder, and they're on the swing like nothing else matters. It's the greatest thing in the world. And when we get into like the schooling system, we're gone into this binary structure, and all these outside beliefs get put on us, and we lose our intuition a little bit, and we lose that connection to nature and the cosmos and that childlike curiosity, because we're made to sit down, shut up, and do work and
figure out the right answer, because there is a right answer and you need to figure it out. When
we're told a formula, we're told somebody else's formula for life, and we then start to lose ourselves a little bit. And then we get to our teenage years, and it's like, now we've got all this peer pressure from other people, and we become more self-conscious. We become, you know, we have those desires, sexual desires, as we're going through puberty, and we're trying to then navigate the world, like, and it's confusing as fuck. Like, what the fuck do I do? And we've got all this information being pushed onto us about what we should and shouldn't be doing. And I find this is where people either, you know, break out of the box and say, well, this is me, or they become conformists by society, especially women, and they lose themselves. And it happens at some point in their life where they go, I don't want to be like this anymore. I'm kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it, like that point that you said, I'm a little bit curious. So you start to kind of look at other things, and I find that's where a lot of people get this spiritual awakening, as it's called in many on many platforms and many places. But I just call it like an inner awakening. That's what I do, inner awakening. And it's like, oh, I don't think that's actually my belief. that's someone else's, and that's someone else's way of doing it, but I want to do it this way, and that feels more right for me. So you start to then unlearn all of this stuff that's been put on to you by this patriarchal structures and everything. And I find that is the most amazing point in somebody's life, especially in a woman's life, where they go, fuck this shit. I'm gonna like take my power back and be who.
And do you know what? That's what happened to
me. And a lot of it is to energy, or they get that from starting to explore their spiritual practices, these other spiritual practices.
Yeah, I feel like I just woke up one day and was like, I'm not into this anymore. This isn't working for me.
Yeah.
I need to look for a different answer, because these black and white, these binary answers are not floating my boat anymore, and I'm not loving life. Yeah, and I think it feels like it happens at that particular point, and it's quite a common point for a lot of women where that moment seems to occur. So yeah,
it's like you kind of
really
take the blinkers off, and you go, oh, there's all this out here, there's all this stuff that I can explore, and actually it's okay to be me. So I talk a lot about unmasking, because I'm autistic and ADHD. So a lot of the people that I work with are actually neurodiverse, or they're undiagnosed neurodiverse. So talk about all these masks that we wear, and it's like, it feels like a relief when you finally sort of take those off. I mean, unmasking can feel really unsafe to start with. So I would suggest like doing that in safe places with safe people to start with. And then I mean, like, you'll see me like on my social media in my pants, and you'll see me effing and jeffing, like, and putting two fingers up to patriarchal structures, but it's taken me a long time to get there. So what you see now is a empowered and powerful version of myself that I've worked for the last 8 years on. So and like slowly sort of emerging and coming out of your shell, that I feel a lot of people do. Like that's my journey anyway.
Yeah, and for me it was like breaking free from I was just doing do when I had a problem. What do I need to do? At best it might be I might think, what do I think about this? What should I think about? Never feel. It's almost like the feel bit never came into it, and then that was like, oh, that's really uncomfortable.
So when we're working somatically, so all the work that I do is very deep and it's somatical, but we do ecstatic dance and we have fun and we scream in my studio a lot because we do rage release and that. So
just explain to people what you mean by somatics, because it was a new word for me not that long ago, so I think it'll be new for quite a lot of people.
That's a good point, actually, Joes, because you hear this word, it's a buzzword at the moment, but it's a flipping fabulous buzzword. And so somatics, if you think soma, the word soma is Latin for body. So somatically, you're feeling it in your body. So imagine like when you feel anxious, that's a very visceral feeling, right? It's not just a thought process, it's a visceral feeling. So visceral is feeling in the body as well. You'll hear those words when you're watching people's podcasts and things and reading stuff on the internet. So when you are in, say, like counseling, that's a head thing, and that's working with the conscious mind. When you're working somatically, you are working with the body wisdom, the body feelings, and we're embodying practices such as nervous system regulation, polyvagal toning, which your vagus nerve runs down the back of your head, right through your central nervous system. It's got branches off into like the neck and stuff. So there's loads of different exercises. I'm trying to kind of put this into a nutshell of all this, of this learning. So when you're going to say like counseling or something, they're asking you, what do you think about that? Like, let's trying to change your mindset and reframe that, the talking bit. But when you're healing somatically, so somatic experiencing, I will be asking you, thinking about that situation, put yourself in that situation, bring it down, bring it out of the mind, drop it down into your heart space, drop it down now into your sacral, breathing, and then it'll be like, okay, what's happening in your body when you're connecting with that situation? Where do you feel it? So sometimes it will go like, I can feel it all in my neck, or I'm feeling it down in my root. So we breathe down into that and we start to release that. Now, things like crying happen a lot, like yawning, even bursting out laughing. So shaking as well. There's loads of different ways that you can have a somatic release. So like even like walking, laughing, dancing, yoga, breath work, cold therapy, exercise, they're all somatic stuff. Somatic ways.
Breath work and cold water therapy for me have made me have releases like that surprised me a lot. You know, where, you know, even just in the breath work, I started crying for no reason. I didn't know why, but it needed to come out. Yeah, it just needed to come out.
It's like we are designed to want to logic everything. We want to make sense of everything. And
what's the
why am I crying? Don't know, you're having a release. Let it happen.
Yeah.
So the breath work and cold therapy then will. So what I was talking to you a little bit about just before we came on is that you will put up a wall of resistance. When you start to do this work, there will be some sort of resistance. So you imagine like you have gone through life with tight hips, maybe one side more tighter than the other. You've got no injury.
And this is me, by the way. This is me. Me and Jen were talking about me, and I'm fine for us to talk about me here. So we can use me as an example, if you like.
So tight hips.
I have really tight hips. Yeah.
So much stuff. You'll probably find one's tighter than the other. So related to your masculine or feminine energy. So left and right. So right is your masculine, left is your feminine energy. So you'll notice that one's tighter than the other. You've got no injury.
My left.
So there's no medical reason why you have a pain in your body. So let's explore the emotional root of physical pain. So what are you holding there? So I did this a couple of days ago with one of my clients. So she's one of my long-term massage clients. And so we're talking about the hip flexor. And I'm like, wait, it's not physical. And the massage had ended, but I was like really drawn just to do some energy healing on her hip. I said, is that okay? So I was drawing down to her hip and I felt under my hand like that, a pop. So the energy physically released and she cried. Because then I just spoke to her through, and it popped. And then she was like, what? She goes, this is why I come to you, because it's like, it's mad. She goes, do I need to give you any extra money for that? I was like, no, I just wanted to do that for you. Like it's naturally just in my intuition wanted to go there. So exploring that, and what came up in that session is that she's resisting moving forward, and she's resisting moving forward to protect herself from past relationships that she's had. And it just made sense. And so in that way, she was trying to make sense of something. She needed the full-on logic for her to have that release. But you get to the stage where you're like, I don't need to know why anymore.
Yeah.
It's just happening for me. Whatever's happening is happening for me. And having that surrendering into the somatic processes can feel so scary.
It does. I find it really hard, especially because I'm trying to do it on my own. Like when we were saying earlier, difficult thing to do by yourself because you can't stop your own resistance. I kind of can't push myself past my wall. You almost need somebody else to facilitate you over that wall.
You need that facilitation. Otherwise, your body is just going to go, no, it's going to be so. So when you're in fight or flight, or when you are in a high stress level, when you're turned on, you are not
that's me.
going to be able to access this stuff. It's physically, biologically impossible. You just won't.
And then I get more frustrated that I'm not getting progress. Does that make sense? Like you know, the ice baths out in the garden, I'm permanently in that. You know, trying to settle my vagus nerve, trying to activate, flip my nervous system over. It's like I've understood all the science, but it's really hard to make it happen by yourself. And you know, part of that problem. Say that again.
You need the nurturing. So one of the most amazing parts of what I do is, so some stuff is womb healing, like for just women or people that identify as a woman. Okay. So I held this lady, she's in her early 70s, just through some somatic practice. And I just said, I love you. I love you. And I see you and you are worthy. And just in that moment of, she cried and hugged me back. And then afterwards,
she making me emotional thinking about it.
It is really like, it's such beautiful work. And she cried and she said, I've never ever been held like that in my whole life. And that's sad.
Lovely.
Yeah, but also beautiful. I'll start crying now.
But I can feel it. Feel a road trip to Bedfordshire coming on.
Oh my god, I'd love to do that. Like it's I just love it, you know, and I just love being able to hold that space. And that's what it's about. For me, it isn't about having loads and loads and loads of people in a room for the vanity numbers and that. For me, it's about intimate sacred work, which is really important to me. And it is honoring my ancestors. It's honoring my elders and the stuff that I've been taught down my lineage. And it's also just honoring that space. So like whatever comes into that space at the time, to work very intuitively. And so it's different for everybody. Like sometimes when I take people through like the 5 element method, we do physical stuff. Like we pick up the beliefs and we throw them across the room and we make them smash against the wall and stuff like that. That type of work is, I think, it's really life-changing when you've got the NLP in there and you've also got the somatics. It's a really powerful combination.
We'll talk a little bit more about the 5 element method in a bit, won't we, before we finish up. You know, Jen's going to be providing an experience for people around that at the festival. Amazing. So obviously a lot of your work centers around empowerment for people, not just women, for people. You know, so tell us a little bit more, particularly, you know, it's 2 words for me. The festival is a festival of empowerment and well-being, right? So those 2 words, empowerment and well-being, you know, what does it mean to you to feel empowered and to have a sense of well-being?
So let's talk about empowerment. Empowering, feeling empowered is, for me, when I am living and speaking my truth. That's when I feel most empowered. When I'm unafraid to show up for myself. And when I'm speaking my truth, even if it feels really uncomfortable. And now that can be in my personal life and that can be in my work life, just life in general. Like that can be with a stranger. I feel most empowered when I'm in my truth. And
is that about you? So again, when we say speaking our truth, for you, is that being able to say what you want to say and ask for what you want and need?
Yeah,
that
ask
kind of thing.
And say, and communicate healthily, and have boundaries, but like looking at boundaries as not like this electric fence that's around you and defensive, but as a loving force field, or of like a loving force field. And kind of like sometimes that looks like, I can't right now, you know, but I really want to see you, so we'll arrange something soon. Or sometimes it looks like, fuck off. All the way off and leave me alone. Depending on the person and what's the situation, you know. No, all the way off, right?
All the way,
to
the end of the earth.
Don't look back. Don't you dare look back, right? and it's sometimes the most empowered thing I can do is lay in bed and cry. You know, so it feels like just honouring myself. Quite simply, living my truth, being truthful for myself and to others, and honouring my body and my needs.
It's almost like choosing you, isn't it?
That's
choosing
a good
yourself.
way of putting it. Yes, choose you always.
Choose you.
And as a recovering people pleaser, that hasn't always been the case, and like a massive overgiver. So I become a fixer of people and everything.
I think that's true of a lot of women, right? You know, so obviously, just to flip it into the context of women, it's a very common trait of women, isn't it? That, you know, we don't choose us first, we choose everybody else first. You know, and that's very detrimental then to our well-being. You know, so I think that's important to be. It's a big lesson, that, isn't it? And it's not easy to just slip into. It's easier said than done sometimes to kind of choose you,
especially when you're a mum. You know, especially when you're a mother, and I'm a single mum as well. So it's like sometimes I have to not choose me first because so that you get that kind of that balance and where, but then it's important to make that time, even if it's 10 minutes a day, where you can just woosah to yourself, you know. I'm sure a lot of people will relate to that as a mum, woosah.
And so, you know, when you're kind of doing all of that, does that naturally give you a sense of well-being, or is there more to your well-being practice for yourself?
Yeah, I guess like well-being for me is everything, and it's taking responsibility for my toxicity too. It's taking responsibility for my actions, reactions, and how I'm talking to people, and being as a friend, as a lover, as a mother, as a business owner. Like it's being aware of my own bullshit, but also lovingly being aware of my own bullshit. It's, you know, what am I putting into my body, and am I making time for nutrition? Am I staying hydrated? Like, these are so simple but really overlooked things. Hydration, eating, what are you eating? Like, sometimes I have ADHD, like I forget that I haven't eaten. So I have post-it notes to say drink water and have you eaten yet? Oh yeah, no, I haven't. So and I get time.
Thanks for the reminder.
Basically I've post-it notes everywhere. Just remember to breathe, Jen. Remember that you're a human being. So well-being, and then it's like all aspects of well-being. So it's social as well, and it's like, am I having fun? That's a big part of my brand and my own well-being. Am I allowing myself to take a break from the deep work and just have fun? Staying curious, and surrounding myself with good people and good energy. Not any toxic high vibe only. No. Come as you are. But people that are on the same sort of wavelength, that aren't sort of being judgmental, putting you down, and they're taking responsibility for themselves too. So that's
it's funny, isn't it? Actually, we use that word, people on the same wavelength. We've used it for ages. Loads of people use that word. Oh, I'm just not on the same wavelength as them. They're not on the same wavelength as me. But actually, when you then start to really think about what that means in your, like when you say you work energetically, that then has the right meaning, doesn't it? Because like you say, it's not.
That's where it comes from.
You can show up as it is about, but having a similar, you know, an energy that works for each other, because you can't have connection with, because connection comes from energy, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
It's almost like you do create an almost electrical circuit with people. You know, I send my energy out. If it meets with you, it connects with you, and you almost boomerang it, reciprocate it back to me, and that's when we get a nice little circuit going. And it's finding people that you do that with, right?
Yeah, everything's connected energetically. Like, I work with the 3 pillars of connection, something that I've coined myself. It's connection to self, firstly, meaning like who, what, where, when, why. Who am I? Who the fuck am I? What do I want? Like, how do I want to feel? Those really important basic foundation questions of connection to self-development. And number 2 is connection to each other. So we work like heart coherence. I don't know if you've ever heard Joe Dispenza talk about heart coherence, measuring. So when human beings are next to each other, our hearts talk. Our energy talks, and it vibrates with each other. It's amazing. Honestly, go Google it, look it up. Like Joe Dispenza, like heart coherence, and he does. He measures it as well, in like some of the practices that he does.
I've heard of him.
Phenomenal.
I watched one of his series.
Yeah, a lot of his work filters down into the work that I do. Yeah, and I've watched and I've done some training and stuff, and it filters down into what I do. And so connection to others, collective healing is so powerful. When you sit in circle, there's a reason that we sit in circle, because it conducts electricity, it conducts energy, right? And then that energy from that circle ripples out into the wider community. And so that's what's called collective healing, right? And then the 3rd pillar of connection is connection to nature, because nature's energetic vibration. Like you've heard of grounding, right? You know, you've heard of like solar energy, the moon, you know, all of these things. Really, once we really connect to those, we can then enhance our well-being. We can enhance our connection. Like if you look at different animals and the way that they respond to the world, and how the seasons as well. So like those 3 pillars of connection are all based around energy. Everything's energy. Like even like an inanimate object can pick up energetic frequency. The energy can sit with that chair, with that sofa. If you've ever bought anything secondhand, like you can feel, if you're attuned to energy or you're sensitive to it, then you can feel that as well. Like if you've gone into a coffee shop, you've sat in a chair where someone's been before, and you're like, whoa, that energy. Or someone walked past you in the street and you're like, shit, man, like I'm really drawn to that energy. Like, or someone walks in a room, your energy introduces you before anything else. And so energy is everything. Gone off on a little tangent there. I get very excited when I talk about energy.
I think that's brilliant, because you know, I think we think we can see, hear, feel everything that's going on. I think it was my husband that said to me the other day something like, this won't be accurate by the way, but he was like, actually as people, we only probably pick up on about 5% of what is actually really around us. We're not that finely tuned. There's so much more going on around us, like with all of the things that you just talked about fit into. But we think, well, if I can't see it, it's not there, but it is there.
So going back to what you said then about seeing things in more color, that is part of what I've heard a lot of people talk about when they get introduced to Reiki, when they have their first Reiki attunement, is they start to see things more vivid color. But what that is it's just shifting your perception and your awareness, and you might notice little bugs, or you might notice things that are a bit different. But what that is all it is just opening up your energy, so your receptors and everything. So when you talk about that, like when you start to get curious about these spiritual practices, but really they're a lot based in science, and I'm a geek about science. Like I really cannot stand the word woo. It makes me cross. Literally inside.
And in the doghouse like years ago. Yeah.
So because
it's not.
I feel that it dilutes how amazing, energetic, spiritual practices are. And if you look into them, a lot of them are really based in there's so much research and proof and like neuroscience is the also linked to like spirituality if you delve a bit deeper into that. So for me, I love science, proper geek on the brain function, body nervous system function. But then when you can combine it with this, the stuff that we can't see but we can feel, it's just beautiful.
Amazing. So tell everybody a little bit then about what you're, I mean, clearly, Jen's sponsoring the spirituality space, but you're doing a few things, like you're bringing some ace things to the festival. So tell everybody a little bit about what they can expect and look forward to from the stuff you'll be doing.
So based on all the stuff that I've talked about there, 22 years of working in this space in various different roles. I put together, I've worked with thousands and thousands of actual people, bodies, right? And brains. And I put together a method a year or so ago and I've called it the 5-element method for inner awakening. Now, it's tried and tested and tweaked. And I've got it down to this gorgeous, really transformative method that I take you through that works on your subconscious. It works on your nervous system. It works on your body. So how can you benefit from that? So things I've talked about are, are you feeling lost? Are you feeling like you've got these feelings of anxiety, unhealthy coping mechanisms, this stuckness, and also unresolved childhood trauma? I work a lot with that. So I'm trauma informed and trauma trained as well, which is very important when you're doing somatic work because that's everything that goes on. So I know I've touched on the emotional root of physical pain and illness, and this is like my fascination topic is the metaphysical anatomy. So you're walking around like you've got a stiff neck and there's no rhyme or reason to why you keep getting a reoccurring pain in the same place. Yes, muscular, and you can have it moved and manipulated, but it keeps coming back. So we look at things. Posture. So why are you in pain? Posture. You've had an accident, or you've got an underlying emotional root pain in that area. Most likely the latter. And so that's what I help you to unearth and release. So the 5-element method works with mindset. It works with modalities as breath work, works with movement, and it works with energy, and it also works with sound frequencies. So combining that together layered in a specific way brings you through a journey. So it's 90 minutes when done in a group, and it takes you on a journey of healing those, or at least working with healing those emotional roots and releasing it. So it's very releasing, and kind of like when I've done it before at festivals and that, everyone was like, that was their favorite thing at the festival. And so I can't wait to like bring it to Womanifest. That's what I'm doing in the experience tent. And then the spirituality tent, we're going to be working with your ancestral strengths, your wisdom, right? So we hear a lot about ancestral trauma, and generational trauma, all the things that get passed on to us in a negative way. But hang on a minute, what about all of your ancestral strengths, generational strengths? So that's what we're going to be working with. Yeah, we're going to be. We're going to heal a little bit of get rid of a bit of the other stuff, but we're going to be connecting with. So in a powerful, energetic, deep meditation, you're going to be connecting with that, and I'm going to get you to write them all down and everything like that, and then how you can bring them into your life and your business and in your relationships to enhance your quality of life. So yeah, that's going to be like a really empowering kind of session as well.
Yeah, and again, it's a bit different for most people. It's not something they will, like most people, have ever done before, is it? You know, and that's what I love about so much of the stuff that we collectively bring to the festival, is that it gives people experiences and tasters and opportunities at lifting the lid on things that they might have not, you know, pushed away before or never even heard of, in the hope that it does, you know, empower them, inspire them, educate them, liberate them, and even entertain them, I guess. They're always my 5 words for Womanifest.
Yes.
Anything that goes on at the festival has to do at least one of those 5 things. Most things do nearly all of them.
Yeah. I'm quite entertaining in my workshops. So I'm not very sensible. And I do things, I'm not really one of these people that does things by the book. I just do my thing in my way.
And that's it, though, isn't it? It's really role models to other people about, you know, about letting themselves be empowered, like you said, so that they can speak their own truth and show up as the person that they just are.
Yeah. And I've seen the lineup for, I've seen the behind the scenes lineup. So all I'm going to say is that people that come to Womanifest are spoiled for choice of what to do.
No, that's something.
And they're going to have an amazing time. There's so many amazing practitioners, some that I know and some that I'm excited to meet and get involved with, and connect with. So, you know, whatever session that you get drawn to go to, you're going to have like an amazing experience.
That's the only one. You know, if there's ever any like complaint or negative feedback we ever get, it's that, oh, you made me have to choose between things that I wanted to do. I mean, I will let people into a little secret. We are doing something a little bit different this year for our ticket holders only. This won't be for general people, but everybody who's hosting a workshop at the event, we are asking them to provide us with at least a, you know, kind of digital version of it. I know you can't recreate experiences necessarily as much, but so that if there's something that you do have to choose between, at least then afterwards there'll be this portal for ticket holders that they can go into and at least like access the expertise, you know, learn the stuff, even if the experience isn't necessarily bang on. So that won't be for just anybody willing. It'll only be for people who were at the festival, so that nobody has to feel like they missed out on anything, and they feel like they properly get good bang for their buck in buying a ticket to come along. But that's it, you know. How do you fit it all into a weekend? It's mental.
I know.
But it's
that's why I do it. That's why I do it every day.
It is. Like you know what? One of the questions I quite often ask myself most days is, right, where's my opportunity to be a bit silly today? I just love being silly. It's one of my favourite things to do is being silly. I love the word silly.
Off as well. I love getting my kit off and I love being silly. Like we have this thing in our household because we're a neurodiverse household. And I say, I go, I need to let the silly out. I need to let the silly out. And then we all of us just let the silly out, and we just all just do something weird and like, and it's like, but because part of that is having like this sometimes this pent up energy, and it's just like, let's just let the silly out. So that we have that in our household.
It's just sometimes you just take your clothes off and do it as well.
Basically, I run around the garden naked.
Well, you know what? The last 2 years at the festival, we've had things that have involved getting naked. We haven't actually got anything on the lineup this year that involves us taking our clothes off. However, Yeah,
You know,
we have still
community
got
you
two
need.
spaces. We've got 2 spaces for things, and I'm not just putting it out there for any old application. I'm waiting till I find the right thing.
What
But I
have
would
you
love it.
contacted Jane? Jane?
Well, let's talk after this about
Yeah.
where we might fill a naked gap. So watch this space, audience. for something
I
else
did.
to-
I did an amazing workshop. I'll talk to you about it after.
Yeah. Exciting. But at this year's festival, because we've got a lake at the new venue, we've also got open water swimming. So we've got proper open water coaches, full lifeguards. And before anybody gets excited thinking that they're going to get like, hunky male lifeguards, we wouldn't be seen to do that, because then we'd be like hypocrites, wouldn't we? Flipping it the wrong way around. We will have women lifeguards. So open water swimming.
Because I'm a lesbian, so I can have hot women.
You'll be all right then. And
I'm in my element. I'm not too pervy, but I'm in my element. Female
with all the women. With all the women. It's fantastic. Well, to go with the kind of water-based activity, breaking news, I've hired this year wood-fired hot tubs and saunas that are going to sit on the edge of the lake. So we've got a proper Womanifest kind of spa. So it's not just a pamper tent this year. Yes, we've got the pamper tent, but we've got these hot tubs and saunas. So, I reckon you can get naked in the sauna, can't you? That'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. So, if you do come to a manifest and you see me with my baps out, happy birthday.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Jen, it's been amazing to talk to you. I've loved kind of sharing more of what you do with the world. Me and you would be terrible, won't we, for the giggles? We'll just get the giggles forever. Totally. So I hope if you're already coming to a manifest, I hope that gets you even more excited about your weekend ahead. And if you're not already coming to a manifest, sort yourselves out and make sure now that you think you go and get yourself a ticket. Because our tickets are tiered. So we reward fast action takers. The earlier you buy your ticket, the cheaper it is, the better value it is. So I'll leave you with that one, and I'll see you next time with another new guest. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Womanifesting. Remember to hit subscribe to be the first to hear when a new episode drops. And if you've enjoyed the conversation, leave us a review. We'd love you to join the conversation with us on our socials. So come and hang out with us at womanifest.uk. Until next time, remember to choose joy, choose pleasure, and most importantly, choose you.